Hey, and welcome back to Bill Rants About. Today I wanted to talk about Overwatch healing and just a little backstory. I'm 48. I'm completely still addicted to this game, Overwatch. It's been out for about 4 years now. And if you're a fan of Overwatch, um, you know, you I don't know what your pick of best healers are, but I'm going to go over my picks of what my favorite healers are and when I think they're good for, what comps and stuff like that. I'm going to go from my least favorite to my favorite. I'm going to start out with my least favorite healer to use is Baptiste. It didn't used to be this way. The recent nerf of Baptiste and his group healing, it cut it in half, and to me now he's almost unplayable. I can't stand playing him. If it usually represents a bunker comp kind of thing when you're using Baptiste anyway, and I'm not a big fan of that anyway. So I'm not a big fan of Orisa. I'm not a big fan of just Bastion. I'm not. Those comps just annoy the shit out of me. I can't stand being a part of those comps. And now that you can't, your surrounding healing secondary ability to heal people around you is cut in half. I'm not really sure I understand the nerf. But I would definitely rank him as my least favorite healer to play right now. Um, my next healer is Brig, and for a lot of the reasons Baptiste, I mean, her recent nerfs have kind of nerfed her into the ground. I still think she's viable a little more than Baptiste. It's just that, you know, I understand that she was broken for a long time, and she was like a must pick. And it depends on what skill rank you are. Obviously, I think at lower skill ranks you can get away with playing Brig right now, and higher ones if you're really good with Brig. I just personally not one of my favorite characters. A lot of times I feel like I'm just swinging the mace and getting killed, and it, it's just not my thing. Um, my next favorite play healer is Mercy. Now, when I say Mercy this is just my favorite to play. Now, as far as functionality, if you're good with Mercy, I mean, she's great. She's very elusive. She does heal a lot. Um, but I have a rule of thumb. If you're playing Mercy and halfway through the match you don't have gold healing, then you need to switch off Mercy, because with Mercy, um, that's your job. You're healing. You're not doing a lot of any other things. I mean, you've got the power boost, you've got things like that, but the ult kind of sucks. I mean, it's okay, but if you're playing Mercy and you don't have gold healing at halfway through that match, you better switch off because something's not right. I mean, you're not doing your job or whatever. But if you're good with her and you can fly around, she's obviously very effective. But as far as being exciting to play, not really. She's not that fun. You can control games with her if you pick the right fights and you help your teammates in the right way. And you could be a dominant Mercy. I mean, Mercies are annoying. If you can't kill the Mercy, and for instance, I was playing yesterday, and it was like a 14-minute game, and I had like 26,000 healing, and they just couldn't kill me. So I mean, you can dominate if especially depending on what skill rank you're at. Like really low, like if you play in bronze and silver and gold and stuff like that, Mercy can just be completely dominant because the people, they don't attack your back lines usually in those skill ranks, or if they do, they're not very successful. So Mercy can be very good and useful there. My next hero is Mora. Um, Now Mora is a player that can be frustrating to play. They've nerfed her a little too, to where her healing's not quite as good as it used to be. I've always been a fan of the character. I know there's a lot of those DPS Moras out there, but the way I kind of like to heal, so um, I feel like people who are DPS Moras are kind of wasting her because your alt charge is so dependent on your healing that, I mean, if you're not healing, I mean, you can, if you're a good Moira, you can have an alt charge almost every fight, um, especially with all the damage, from all the range heroes that are going on right now. I mean, if there's a Roadhog in the game, and you're healing him as he just keeps getting, plugged and plugged and plugged, you can get your alt charge. I mean, and she's really good for squishies, obviously. You can finish people off. I mean, I think a lot of people who don't heal sometimes will blame you for being a DPS more, not realizing that, hey, when you run out of healing, you have to DPS so you can recharge it. But the Moras that I can't stand are the ones that you can see them by themselves. Because as a healer, like, I've logged over 1,000 hours as a healer. And the one thing I know about Mora is that you need to be near your tanks. And I think for the most part, a lot of your healers need to be near the tanks. But, I like to be near the tanks. They can charge me. They kind of give me cover. If you see a Mora out by herself trying to pick off people, I mean, it can work at the low SRs, but as soon as you get up higher, I mean, all the range heroes are just going to murder Moras. I mean, you can't do enough damage. So, if that's the kind of Mora you are, you're playing it wrong. You need to be, healing your team. I mean, I think it's obvious. But I'm glad they've nerfed her a little with her, the ball and her grasp and stuff like that, because people are getting away with murder with that character sometimes. And I think a lot of people who can't play DPS and can't get a lot of kills, they'll go over and play Mora because they try to pad their ego, and they think that, oh wow, I got gold elims because I'm taking the last 5 HP from every hero, or XP, excuse me. My next favorite character is Zen. Now, I love Zen. The only downfall to Zen is that he's very susceptible to people like Sombra and Genji and Tracer and stuff like that. I mean, you can just get, if you're, especially higher up you go, if your backline defenses are terrible and you're playing Zen, it's very frustrating. But you can really, if you're not touched, or if you can defend yourself, or they protect you well, I mean, Zen is one of the most powerful healers in the game just because of his offensive production. Obviously, if you're a decent Zen, you're going to get that offensive assist card almost every game. And so, I like Zen. I like his ult, especially when there are Genjis, or if there is a Zarya, or something like that. I love to hold the ult because the ult is so powerful. But like I said, if you're getting harassed in the background, it's terrible. If there's a Sombra on the other team, you almost have a decent Sombra. You almost have to change because Zen is just too easy to kill. Unfortunately, he's the one healer that really doesn't have a good defensive ability besides his ult. Like, he can't avoid people, and I think if they were going to do something to Zen, they should give him some kind of ability to avoid, like a flanker or something like that, because he is really vulnerable. But then I'll go to my next healer, and I'm just gonna say this about the next healer. Ana, probably the most fun healer to play, maybe the hardest healer to play also, but her grenade is maybe one of the best things in the game. I like to use her a lot. Now, am I good with her? I'm average. I'm a good healer. I'm not exactly a good scoped, like, offensive player. I've just never been that. But as fact, in regards to healing, I mean, if you have a Reinhardt, or if you have a Roadhog, or somebody who's taking constant damage, Ana's healing is probably the best in the game for those characters, just because it's so concentrated, it's so quick, and she's got one of the best defensive kits in the game. So, like, when I see a Tracer and a Genji when I'm playing Ana, I'm not nearly as afraid as when I'm playing Zen. So, and I also think that if you're really good at Ana, I think probably Ana might be the best all-around healer in the game if you're good. If you're a good healer, like if you're skillful, like, Diamond, Master, whatever. Anas are just, they're so annoying to deal with, especially if they're accurate down the scope. Um, but they're hard to kill, and they can change a fight around in with just one grenade. So as far as like fun levels, I probably would put her maybe above my top healer, but effectiveness, it depends. I feel like I'm more effective as my next hero, but Anna can still be like a game changer, and I really like her. Her ult's great. I mean, everything about her is just really good. There's a high skill cap for her, but you know. And then my favorite healer, and the healer that I've logged ridiculous amounts of hours on, is Lucio. Now, I always hear in games that we need a main healer. We don't need a Lucio. I have a very big problem with that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to drink a cup. I got to drink for my coffee here. So hold on. But um, I don't subscribe to the fact that Lucio is not a main healer. You have to know how to heal with him. Obviously, his speed is one of his greatest attributes, especially when you're chasing someone down, or you just want to become you want your team to be a little more elusive and stuff like that. But he can heal at a main heal level. The only thing is his healing is for certain comps. If you have, I do not like using I do not like using Lucio for like. I'm not a big fan. I mean, you can dive with him with the tanks like Winston and Diva and stuff like that, but I feel like he's better used for more stationary tanks, slow moving comps, which I'm not. I mean, you can be fast moving too with Lucio, but his healing, if you're just going by healing, his healing is best for the more stationary kind of like Roadhog, the shield tanks and stuff like that. But I love him. Obviously, I love the boop. I love to be able to boot people off maps. I mean, that's one of the highlights of any. After 4 years, you look for little things that just make you happy. The booping off the maps is one of those things. I'm not a big fan of the Lucios that just ride the walls and they're just trying to play offensive Lucio and they're not with their team, not with their tanks. Um, his alt is one of the best in the game. If used correctly, I mean it can just neutralize almost any of the other alts, and he's just fun to play for me. I've logged probably 600 hours with Lucio now, close to. Um, so I would love to get your guys' feedback on what healers you guys like to use, what kind of comps you like to use with your healers, because nowadays, you know, I kind of like when I'm playing comp, I look at the tanks, and when I see a Reinhardt, I play Anna, and I try to be kind of well, skill. I try to use each healer, as much as I can. Now, Baptiste and Brig, I don't use a lot, but if I have an Orisa, if I have a Sigma, I'll use a Baptiste. Um, I'll use a Brig if it's more like a bashing style kind of comp. But those two healers I don't use a lot, and I'm not saying that if you love those characters, you love those characters, and if you're good with them, you're good with them. I'm not good with them. Um, I used to be decent with Baptiste because I'm a heal first kind of guy, but when they nerfed that healing, it really just kind of discouraged me from playing him. I can be one of those Baptistes that just constantly shoots people and stuff like that, and I mean if you're good at that, you have good aim, all the power to you. But I would love to hear from you guys. Like I said, like if for instance if I have Diva Monkey, I like to use Mercy, just because they're mobile and I like to go in with them, or a Zen. Like if I would like to go with like Mercy Zen if I have those kind of comps, because they're going in. I can either put an orb on them or I can follow them in as Mercy. If I have Reinhardt, I'll use Anna. Roadhog, I like to use Anna. It just depends. I mean, Roadhog really doesn't need a lot of healing, but you can still get your alt fast off of Roadhog because they take super damage. So I would love for you guys, if you like this Overwatch content and you want to talk about Overwatch, I'd love to talk about it, especially coming with Overwatch 2 coming whenever it comes. I'm thinking maybe the first quarter, I'm thinking it's going to come out in May. I think it's going to come around anniversary time, and I think we're going to get some kind of beta at the BlizzCon online thing, whatever they're doing there. I think the beta is going to be coming out in February. We'll see. But please leave comments. Please subscribe. Please hit me with a like. I'm trying to grow this channel. I would love to talk about Overwatch. I don't just talk about Overwatch and video games and stuff like that. I do movie reviews. I'll go political. I'll go family. I like to talk about lots of different things. So if you want to ask me a question, please feel free. Put a comment below. I'll try to comment to all of everybody's comments. Again, thank you, and that'll do it.